is The Furnace with John Burton.
It is time, everybody. It's time. It's beyond time. It is time to start scaring visitors away from the church. Hey, this is John Burton. Let's talk about it. You might want to check out my Charisma Magazine article on the topic. And this article is actually in the print version of Charisma Magazine a while back. You can also Google it online. Just Google, it's time to start scaring visitors away from the church by John Burton, and you'll find it. But let's talk about it right here, because church is really gone off the rails. And, of course, with all the seeker-sensitive movement and all that, that has bled into so much of the current church structure that we see today. We need to understand that the church meeting, the church service, the gathering was never meant for the lost. I do want to qualify this, however. If the lost come, then that's amazing, and we want to see them just rocked by the power of God. When legit revival breaks out in a church, the lost are going to come. Okay, we need to understand that. But we're doing it backwards. We think the primary goal is to get the lost in the church. It's not. It absolutely is not. It's actually time that we start turning up the temperature of the heat in the place, and to such a degree that most people, a lot of Christians included, by the way, run. They run for the hills. Why? Because they can't stand it. It threatens their mediocrity. It threatens their own level of control. It threatens everything about life that they personally enjoy, because revival does that. Revival will threaten every last part of your life. But we don't need to be setting up churches in such a way where we're just attracting all these visitors. I believe it's just grieving to the heart of God when the Holy Spirit is asked to take a break so we can get the people in the pews. And that's what's happened. Of course, I've said so many times, and I'll be saying it for the rest of my life, that as a leader, and I did this in churches that I was giving leadership to, I do it in the meetings, when I travel and speak, I absolutely refuse to tone down the activity of the Holy Spirit out of respect of those less hungry. I refuse. I will not do it. It is time for the fire of the Holy Spirit to erupt in our churches today. Again, church gatherings are believers' meetings. They are for believers. This is where the Holy Spirit has upper room liberty to do anything and everything that he wants, where he burns and blows through the atmosphere. Okay? The primary purpose of the church, the thing that we should be doing more than any other thing, with greater intensity, with greater passion, with greater vision, is wildfire, upper room level prayer. That's the purpose of the church. The church is a house of prayer for all nations. It is not a house of teaching or a house of evangelism or a house of small groups or a house of any of this. All of that can be good if it's on the foundation of radical, wild, intense, insane intercession. I mean, where we're just praying in the Spirit and walking in the Spirit, and just the atmospheres are exploding and fire of God is falling, and we're trembling and we're crying, and the groans that can't be uttered, and those types of churches. And I've had pastors tell me that they refuse to have the prayer meeting, for example, in the main sanctuary, like pre-service prayer. They hide that. They're ashamed of it, I guess. They hide it off in a back room so the visitors won't see it. They don't want the visitors to be freaked out. And so they hide it. They hide the Holy Spirit basically in a closet, so all the visitors will feel nice and comfy in their very natural kind of a humanistic environment. Here we are at Halloween time, and those of you that follow my ministry, I think Halloween is the most obvious wicked celebration in our culture. And it's mind-boggling. It's stunning. It's actually grieving that so many Christians are involved with Halloween. It blows my mind. What are you doing? I mean, it is wickedness to the core, demonic like you have no idea. Just pure demon activity on Halloween, and it's not innocent. It's not innocent. And it troubles me. I get it. It's not that that I'm naive or that I'm out of touch. I get it. I kind of get it. But even Halloween alternatives, in the church, it bothers me. It's always bothered me. Always has bothered me. And when I was leading churches, we would never have a Halloween alternative. Why? In my mind, why? We would hold these fiery prayer meetings. I mean, we would go hard after God, and we would fight the devil, and we would expose the darkness, and we would, tap into the prophetic and what's God doing, and how are we supposed to be responding to what the enemy's doing on this very evil night where just pure wickedness is happening. I mean, the most vile things you can imagine. And so we would do that. And so again, we're talking about the purpose of the church is for the fire, for the prayer, for that kind of an atmosphere. It's not to draw in the lost to to our nice little powwow. It's not to do that. It's not to make friends. It's not to have nice little friendship groups in our church. It's not that. It is not that. It is to pray. It is to burn. It is to erupt in the spirit. It is to go deep in God. It is to go deep in the word. It is for the prophetic to be spiking. It's all of that to be happening. It's not for this low level stuff that might attract some people who are not spiritually minded. And man, so I believe it. I believe it's time to start scaring the visitors away from the church. I believe it's time. It's beyond time. God is ready for a church on fire. Let me read this to you. This is out of my book, The Coming Church. America doesn't need another bed and breakfast church that comforts our flesh, our natural desires. Our nation needs a church with a volatile atmosphere that explodes, burns human flesh, and shocks our culture. We are called to lead a church on fire, and that's not possible with tepid, resistant, lukewarm people. And the Bible talks about this. We have churches full of lukewarm people. In fact, many of them led by lukewarm pastors. And where are the pastors, the leaders that are leading the people into the furnace, in the furnace of intercession, the furnace of Holy Spirit activity? Where are the prophetic minded leaders who are ready to lead some zealots? Where are these people? It's time that we strip off the suit, the 3-piece suit of a salesman, and we put on the mantle of prophet. And it's time to go deep, and it's time to lead the hungry into the place of revival. We need God to move. We need fire to fall. We need Jesus to rock us like never before. We don't need any more low water level churches. We don't need any of that. We don't need any churches where we just kind of control the temperature with the thermostat. It's time that we go hard after God. Here's another quote from my book. Christians who aren't invested in fervent supernatural prayer will be enticed by the natural familiarity of Ichabod churches where the glory has departed. So there's a lot we could talk about, everybody. There's so much we could talk about. But we need churches on fire. We need leaders who will risk everything, risk losing everything. Stop with the church growth stuff. I've preached this so many years. Stop with the church growth stuff. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I'm telling you, you would rather have 10 fiery, devoted, broken, humble, zealous, fervent people than you would want to have 500 lukewarm people, 500 seekers. You want the remnant. You do not want that Ichabod church. You don't want it. We need the fire of God. I believe the church needs to change dramatically. I've met countless pastors and others who say they are focused on revival, but who are misguided on exactly what it is. Their focus is on attracting people to the church, on getting people quote unquote saved, and on other church growth strategies. The problem, the foundational pursuit of revival has nothing to do with church growth or the lost. It has everything to do with the church awakening, with contending in intercession and attracting the fire of the Holy Spirit. The lost didn't show up in the upper room. Marginal followers of Jesus were repelled by the upper room. Revival isn't marked by a full house. Revival starts in a room that reveals the remnant. The revival that erupted in that room full of remnants resulted in explosive church growth and kingdom advance. Premature church growth will result in a multiplication of lukewarm, dead, and dying people who have no idea what it feels like to have tongues of fire igniting over the top of them. Man, guys, there's so much more we could talk about, but the church is not about gathering seekers and having nice meetings and growing numerically. It's not about that. You know, when the Spirit of God falls, what happens? In Acts 2, some mocked and some marveled. And we'll know that we are on the verge of something fiery when people are either mocking or marveling. They're running to the altars or they're running out the back door. And that's what we need in our churches. We don't need the moderates. We don't need the tepid. We don't need the lukewarm. We need the intense, hungry, humble zealots that are ready to just erupt on fire as the Holy Spirit burns through them. So I would love to know what you think about this. What are your thoughts about this? I believe God is ready to shake our nation, and he's going to do it through the church. Guess what, everybody? Abandoning the church is not the right idea. We need reformation in the church. Gathering together in just little home groups isn't the only thing that should be done. We need gatherings under apostolic prophetic leadership as we advance into the darkness and we shake the culture and we shake the nation and we shake our cities and we let God just absolutely bring that earthquake, that shock and awe, and the fear of the Lord, the glory of the Lord. It's time. We need to see that happen. So let me know what you think. You're amazing. Spread the news on these podcasts. You can listen on Spotify, different places. And I'm going to try to keep getting them out there to you. All right. Go to burton.tv for all sorts of info, articles, videos, teachings, sermons. Order my books. I've written 10 books. You can do that there. Booking information. If you're ready to bring me out for some fiery meetings, let's do that. But let's see Reformation come to the church. All right. It's beyond time.
Thank you for listening to The Furnace with John Burton. You can access media, read articles, and partner with the ministry online at burton.tv. And by all means, share this podcast with those who are hungry for revival, reformation, and revolution.